Do you think the Los Angeles Lakers want him back next year?
I think they don't mind him being back if it's at a cheaper price, but I think the word want is too strong. You have no choice but to respect him. He's one of the greatest players to have ever lived. And he did help bring a championship to their squad, even though it was in a bubble. I respect it, but a lot of people don't, but I have no problem with it. Championship to championship. There was a level of carte blanche that he knew he had, that in his own way he may have exercised in their eyes.
Yeah.
And as a result, they got a bit annoyed and turned off by it. So the opportunity to get Luka wasn't just because he was great, but because he was also younger. You were ready for the future to belong to somebody else. You're not Kobe. You're not somebody that started out there and was there from day one.
Right. Yep.
You know, the Lakers, even though they listen, they even treated Shaq differently. There's gonna be some resentment. And they may not want you to leave, but they certainly wanted to diminish the supposed power you either thought or actually had. The season had never been halted, and there wasn't a 4-month hiatus.
Right.
And you had to go through the season nonstop. Anthony Davis, the belief was Anthony Davis wouldn't have been available for you.
Well,
so that is legitimate.
LeBron, at an advanced age, got 4 months off before the bubble.
Yeah,
right?
but what I'm saying is LeBron has earned the trust of basketball lovers everywhere to be able to say what we saw in the finals, what we saw in the playoffs in the bubble, we would have seen from him in the playoffs in April, May, and June. Anthony Davis hadn't, because we had not seen him be available.
Right.
And there were question marks.
Since that Mickey Mouse championship, LeBron James and company, 12 and 20 in postseason games.
Yeah.
For him individually, that's the worst winning percentage of any active player in the postseason, 12 and 20. And over the last 3 years, LeBron and company, 2 and 12 in the postseason. He set an NBA record for missed consecutive fourth quarter threes of 20 in a row. He missed 20 straight threes in the fourth quarters of those Denver games. And I know for a fact the Laker brass was not happy with that performance. That's when Austin Reeves almost saved it for him, because he's the one you can trust.
Well, I recently saw this stat where 3-pointers made or missed with like less than 5 seconds left in regulation or overtime. Mount Rushmore of basketball, man.
All 48 minutes, I'm taking Michael Jordan over anybody, including LeBron. LeBron.
So am I.
Greatness was never the question. The banners confirmed it, the record books archived it, and the championship in the silent bubble sealed it in history. Yet organizations are not built on applause. They are built on permanence. And there's a difference between honoring a man and anchoring a future to him. The language told the story before anyone admitted it, because respect is ceremonial, while one is strategic. And when a franchise shifts from declaring necessity to tolerating presence, the temperature has already changed. He was praised as one of the greatest to ever live, acknowledged as a champion, credited for delivering a title in unprecedented conditions. But gratitude is not inheritance, and applause is not succession. Franchises that believe in you speak in long-term certainty, not optional flexibility. Respect is public, trust is private, and a franchise does not run on talent. It runs on trust, when contracts become variables instead of commitments, when the future is discussed without your name at the center, when the building prepares quietly for what comes after you. That is not disrespect, it is detachment. Greatness survives highlights, dynasty loyalty survives trust. He was celebrated, but celebration is not ownership. The era did not end in anger, it ended in recalculation, judgment. Respect was present, attachment was not. The championship stood tall, officially uncontested, yet context lingered in the shadows because that season paused the world and resumed in isolation, and isolation changes variables. For months of rest in the middle of a campaign altered bodies, timelines, durability narratives, and while the trophy counted, it always counted. The environment was unlike any postseason before or after. Anthony Davis was healthy when it mattered, the roster was intact when it resumed, and the path was completed inside a bubble where noise could not intrude. Banners do not carry asterisks, but memory does. Executives remember conditions. They remember timelines interrupted. They remember how fragile health had been prior to the stoppage. The ring was legitimate, but legitimacy and certainty are different currencies. Respect is public, trust is private. A banner can hang while doubt lingers in private rooms. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust, the building honored. The title. Yet the internal calculus quietly asked whether that path would have unfolded identically under ordinary strain. Dynasties are constructed on repeatable belief, not singular circumstance. When belief becomes conditional, permanence weakens. Judgment. The ring stood firm, but the certainty behind it did not. Power inside a franchise is invisible until it becomes excessive, and influence becomes friction when timelines diverge. Superstars shape rosters, influence signings, shift organizational posture, and for a time that leverage aligns with urgency. But when leverage continues while certainty declines, fatigue begins, the perception that authority was exercised, that direction flowed through one presence, that decisions bent around preference, created tension not visible to the crowd, but felt in. Executive corridors. Power borrowed is never power owned. Dynasties accept influence from lifers because permanence justifies it, but when influence comes from a chapter rather than a foundation, resistance forms. Respect is public, trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. When the future begins to feel secondary to the present will of one player, organizations recalibrate. They may not remove you, but they will diminish the scope of your gravity. Influence without permanence creates imbalance. The recalibration was not emotional, it was structural. Judgment. Authority without inherited loyalty invites correction. Time is undefeated, and franchises build in decades, not seasons. Age is not an insult, it is a variable, and when succession presents itself in younger form, organizations pivot. The acquisition of youth signals direction, not rebellion. The future belongs to the one the franchise can grow old with. Respect is public, trust is private. When the timeline of a star no longer aligns with the timeline of the building, separation becomes strategic. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. Dynasties are not built on nostalgia. They are built on continuity. A franchise choosing youth is not rejecting legacy. It is protecting longevity. Planning beyond the current contract signals an era closing quietly. The trust clock does not stop for reputation. Judgment. Time shifted the center of gravity. Post-season records after the banner changed the temperature. Numbers were not debated loudly, but they were observed carefully. Losses accumulate differently when expectation remains elite. Fourth quarters reveal belief more than talent, and when late-game sequences ended with missed perimeter attempts and visible hesitation, the room felt it. Trust cracks in small moments before it shatters publicly. Respect is public. Trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives. Trust. Executives remember patterns, not excuses. When post-season exits become frequent and confidence appears strained in decisive minutes, doubt compounds. Dynasties demand inevitability, not vulnerability. Judgment. Trust fractured under repetition. Money time is unforgiving because it strips narrative from reality. When clocks wound down and shots did not fall, when free throws felt uncertain, when the ball left the hands without conviction, the silence in the arena grew heavier than any chant. Hesitation is louder than failure. Respect is public. Trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. Organizations do not fear missed shots. They fear visible doubt. Confidence must be automatic in championship. Minutes when it is not. Belief erodes. The building watches body language, watches decision speed, watches whether the moment is embraced or avoided. Dynasties are defined by certainty in the final possession. Judgment. Belief cannot survive recurring hesitation. There are moments that define legend, and the chase-down block remains immortal. Elevation beyond physics, effort beyond fatigue, timing beyond expectation. A play that altered a series and echoed through history. It was greatness distilled into seconds. Yet one moment, no matter how iconic, does not erase patterns. Respect is public, trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. A franchise remembers sustained command more than isolated brilliance. The block built mythology, but mythology alone cannot secure succession. Dynasties require repeated inevitability, not singular spectacle. Judgment. The play was legendary. The pattern remained questioned. The Lakers historically distinguish between those who begin and end within the same walls and those who arrive already crowned. Lifers become bloodline. Transplants become honored chapters. Both can win titles. Both can define eras. But inheritance is reserved for permanence. Respect is public. Trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. Banners hang for many. Statues rise for few. Organizational mythology attaches itself to continuity when legacy is built. Elsewhere before arriving. Admiration exists without surrender, judgment. Inheritance requires origin, that he belongs among the immortals, an all-around force whose longevity and versatility secure historical placement beyond dispute. Mount Rushmore status is acknowledgement of greatness, but it is not synonymous with exclusive ownership of a franchise's soul. Respect is public, trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. When comparisons to ultimate standard, bearers surface, and preference in final minutes tilts toward another figure, separation clarifies. Immortality in the sport does not guarantee inseparability from a specific building. Judgment, historical greatness, does not equal dynastic embodiment. Language softened, timelines shifted, youth arrived, and late game's certainty wavered. None of it erased greatness. None of it diminished resume. But dynasties are not governed by resume. They are governed by trust. Respect is public. Trust is private. Greatness survives highlights. Dynasty loyalty survives trust. When a franchise prepares for tomorrow without centering today's icon, the transition has already begun. The crown does not fall loudly. It slides quietly. Los Angeles honors champions. But it bonds eternally only with those it believes in without condition. The belief cooled, the succession advanced, and the era recalibrated. Verdict: greatness remained unquestioned, but institutional trust dissolved, and without trust, no dynasty endures.